How's it going, everybody? It's Tactard Ted. It is Friday, the 7th of October. If you're looking to hear about politics or the latest happenings in Ukraine or war anywhere around the world, go ahead and shut me off right now, because what am I going to talk about? I am going to talk about concert going music. And believe it or not, I'm a fan of music, although this point in my life, I'm not the guy that's got to go to concerts all the time. In fact, I'll be honest, I've been probably 15 years since I've been to a concert in the U.S. And we got a chance for a band that I like, my kids like, and my wife like, called Sabaton. For those of you who aren't familiar, Sabaton is a Swedish power metal band that specializes in music about history. Mainly histories revolving around war and conflict, and it's good stuff. I really enjoy their music. I enjoy it a good bit. I'm the guy who used to do Ozfest every time. I remember taking my oldest, who's in his mid-30s. I used to take him to Ozfest. He learned a lot at Ozfest. That's where we're talking about drugs. You can see a guy over there doing various illegal activities, and I say, "Hey, John, look at that dude." And I said, "What do you think he's doing?" And John wasn't stupid. John would pretty much tell you what he was doing. I said, "You might want to watch that guy." And of course, a little later, lo and behold, this guy's either doing something stupid that's getting his ass kicked, getting him in trouble with security, or laying on the ground convulsively vomiting, whatever. Hey, John, does that look like fun? No, Dad, that don't look like fun. Well, yeah, you probably want to stay away from that. And there were lots of other things, lots of numerous fun stories. Me and him, I was a single parent, sole custody. It was a lot of fun taking him to rock concerts with me. You go with a kid. Sometimes girls would talk to you. That was a plus of having my son along when I was a single parent. Sometimes they wouldn't. I'm not that I was out there looking to troll for chicks. It was just, it was a byproduct that could be beneficial. Never was, but you always keep that in your mind, right? So with my two youngest, I decided I wanted to expose them to the world a little bit. So a couple months ago, when tickets came up for Sabaton, I went ahead and bought. Now, there's a whole world of change out there that my old dumb country ass had not seen coming. And let's just start out with tickets. It used to be back in the day, you would call Ticketmaster on the phone. You would talk to a live person on the other end. They would check your charge card information, and 1 to 2 weeks, you got your tickets in the mail. Well, not today. Today, you pick out what you want to see, whatever add-ons you want to add on. You put your credit card number in, and you get electronic tickets. Now, I am not a fan of electronic tickets. I am not a fan of anything that I need to store on my phone. In fact, I will tell you, when I go to amusement parks, I print out my tickets. I just do, because I am always scared about technology letting me down. I'm not a guy who puts infinite trust in electronics. I'm not the guy who puts infinite trust in technology, because technology will let you down whenever it gets a choice. You need an example? I had a well pump today that had to be pulled up out of the ground at my home and cleaned because of iron sediment that had got in there and jammed it out over the years. So yes, technology will fail just when you want it, because it would turn on the water tap. My wife is pretty happy with that, and I don't want any grief from my wife. My wife's a great, wonderful woman, and I don't want anything to upset her, which will come up again a little later in my topic about concerts. So I got my electronic tickets downloaded, and I'm like, great, I just hope nothing gets lost, that they don't somehow get misplaced or passwords need to be changed or whatever. It's always a hassle. because I don't log into Live Nation every day. I don't log into all this stuff. Don't need to, right? I just want to go see Sabaton, man. I don't know if I want to do other concerts. I haven't been to concerts in years, so I don't even know if I really want to continue, or start the trend. So a few days ago, right before the concert, I decided that, hey, I best log back in and see what's going on. I logged in, and they're like, well, we don't have any tickets on here for you. You need to log into Ticketmaster. Okay, so I logged into Ticketmaster.com. Oh, you need to change your password. Oh, okay, need to change my password. Here we go. Lo and behold, I got the password changed and everything showed up, and we were good. So we got 4 tickets to go see Sabaton at the Fillmore in Silver Spring. I'd never been to that venue before. Never really even heard much about that venue. But I knew it was in downtown Silver Spring, and I would find it, and we would find a place to park, no problem. So we drove from our little place out in the boonies to Washington, D.C., dealing with the typical DC metro traffic, the Beltway, all the idiots who either don't know how to drive or know how to drive too much and are aggressive drivers, and dealing with all that. We got into a parking garage very close to the venue, and I didn't have a pile of quarters. I expected it to be a parking garage where I could swipe in on my card or swipe out on my card and pay. No, these things had individual meters, and the meters had a barcode on them, and I had to scan the barcode. It took me, or the QR code, excuse me. It took me to their website. I was able to input the number on the individual meter, and I was able to buy parking to the end of the event for a little less than $4, and I was pretty happy with that. There was an elderly lady, and a lady who I presume to be older than me. I'll never tell that to your face because you don't do that with ladies. But this lady looked like she had a couple years on me, and she couldn't figure it out. We helped her get her phone set up and got everything going. Didn't realize she was going to Sabaton. And, we got in line. It stretched around the block. I thought, wow, this is probably a larger venue than I thought it was. And, of course, being this the kids' first rock concert, I kind of wanted to memorialize that. So we took a photograph, and there was a nice young lady dressed kind of Harley Quinn-ish. It's an attractive look. I'm not going to say that it isn't. And she said, hey, you guys want me to take a photo of you? And she was nice, and she took a photo on my phone of myself, my wife, and my 2 kids. And I was able to reciprocate. Her and the young gentleman she was with, I managed to get a couple of pictures for them. And it was a great crowd to be in line with. I was really surprised. There were a lot of old dudes like me who you could tell were into the music. There were also parents that had young kids there that the parents were just dragged along. And there were not a ton of young kids, but I saw 5 or 6, including my 2. The youngest one was a young gentleman who hung out with us for a little bit, who was all of 4 years old, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So we go through security. Security was extremely polite, extremely nice. I threw my keys in there. I worry about it. I have a little small multi-tool that doesn't have a blade on it, but it has pointy things that I hadn't thought about that maybe security would have a problem with, but they had no problem. Walked through the door, and I pulled up my phone, pulled up my ticket, and exposed the barcode. And the young gentleman read it, and I started fumbling with the phone. He said, sir, you don't have to do that. If you got multiple tickets, all you have to do is swipe to one side, and the barcodes on those tickets will be exposed. I had no clue. And I said, man, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Sorry to be messing up, man. The kid who was scanning was just very nice. Hey, sir, no problem. Man, I'm that doddering old fool. I'm like my dad who couldn't set a VCR. And, now I'm that way. I can't unlock everything with my smartphone. Got into the venue immediately since we were on a long trip. Went down to the restrooms. There was a large merch section upstairs. There was a smaller merch table downstairs selling t-shirts. I got t-shirts, and I was really kind of shocked. T-shirts were 45 bucks a piece. I remember paying 35 to 50 back during the Ozfest days. So obviously maybe it's just that the band is that's the most they can get for them. I don't know, but I was pretty impressed. So the kids at their first concert got their first concert tee with the dates and all that happiness on the back. And we got upstairs. The wife looked for a place to hunker down for the show. It was a standing room only show. I went to the bar, $13 for a can, one of the bigger cans of Yuengling Lager, which I drank a couple during the course of the night. Got over next to the stage, up off to the extreme side of the stage in front of the bar, and I can't brag up the Fillmore's staff any more than possible, because I'll be honest, man, they were really, really nice. The security guy there, he was already talking to my kids when I got there, and he had offered them earplugs. I'd forgot earplugs on my way to get out. I mean, the kids should have them. I'm already deaf, so it's not a big deal for me, but I want to try to prolong that with my kids. I don't want them to damage their hearing like I did with explosions and loud music and gunfire and all the stuff I've done in my life. I'd rather try to save my kids from that with hearing protection. Another guy with security came over, saw that my kids were not as tall as everybody, and it's a standing room only. He got them a box to stand on, a wooden box. I was just very, very nice guys. And we waited for the first band to come on, Epica. They're a band that I'm familiar with. I've heard some of their music. I haven't, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I love their stuff, man. It's been, I hear the stuff, some of it's good, some of it I don't care for. I'm not a guy for vocals. I just never have been. The girl that sings for them, she's got a very, very good voice, and I enjoy the music. I'm actually looking more into their music now after seeing them live. They put on a fairly good show. Now, a little something about Sabaton shows. Sabaton shows are what we would call a sausage party. This is, and I'm not kidding, this is the one concert where the line to the men's room is longer than the line to the women's room. Women could go to the bathroom in and out, no problem. Men, you got a line, because the demographics, the guys who like Sabaton, are mostly male. So I'm standing there with my wife. So find all this to my shock and horror when one lady decides, and she's drunk, obviously drunk. I'm not the best looking dude in the room. And she takes off my hat, puts it on her head, trying to flirt with me. And I'm like, hey, I think my wife's not really going to appreciate this. I'm guessing Old and Ugly was her male, the type of guys she liked. I'm not rude to people in personal life. My job, I have to be rude to people. My job, I have to be firm with people. In my personal life, I try to live and let live. My wife, not so much. She got mad. In fact, the girl actually saw that she was making my wife mad, and she tried to come over and make up to my wife, and my wife basically said, "Get off of me." And then later she went and was trying to hang on some other dude, and he's like, "Look, I've got my fiance here. I don't want to go through all this." So interestingly enough, we did not go through all that. And during the set change, that lady with the party she was with decided to go somewhere else and hang out. They no longer wanted to hang out down where we were. And we went ahead and had the show. Everything went fine. I can't complain. Sabaton came on, put on a great show. Once again, they're probably, they're one of my favorite power metal bands, and they're the only one I know of that really deals with history topics. So we had the concert. Everything ended. We made one last pit stop at the bathroom and went on home. So that's just kind of a brief up on where I was yesterday, why I wasn't into all that, and I just find it funny. Here I am, I'm an old dude in my 50s, mid 50s, soon to be mid to late 50s, still doing this stuff, and trying it out again. And I think after the experience my kids had, and a lot of it was due to the great staff and security at the Fillmore. Oh, one other thing, I guess, before I bang out. How did the Sabaton crew treat my kids? Well, my kids are close to the door, right? I'm not to the door. They're close to the stage. They're off to the side. And there's these two guys in Sabaton jumpsuits who are part of the road crew or whatever. They came over and handed my boys 3 picks, and they were picks from the different guitarists in Sabaton. That was very, very cool. Another guy brought 2 of the set sheets that came off the microphones and gave them to my kids, and you could tell they were great. Now, let me back up just a minute, because we had talked about a 4-year-old kid. There was this young 4-year-old boy hanging next to us, and I'm offering for him to stand on the box, and I'm talking to his mom, and she's got an accent. And she goes, oh, he loves the metal. And I'm like, well, where are you from originally? And she said, Belarus. And of course, my wife's Russian. And they started talking back and forth. And met the dad. They were there. We all hung out and had a good experience, everybody. I told you my kids were given 3 picks, and each of my kids got a set sheet. Now, my older son, Nicholas, made sure that little 4-year-old got one of the picks. So Nicholas has a pick from one of the guitarists, Mikey has a pick from another guitarist, and gave the other kid one from the third guitarist. And then gave that kid one of his set sheets, his set sheet. So between my 2 kids, I have 1 set sheet now. Now, I can't say that I'm not couldn't be any prouder than Nicholas. I'm not sure if I had a set sheet that I'd want to give it up, but he wanted to make sure that this 4-year-old, this little guy, had a good time and that he felt included. I'm not sure the little guy knew exactly what was going on at 4 years old, but it's cool. In fact, his parents are, you sure you want to do that? And Nicholas like, yeah, I want him to have one. And, for me, that was one of the high marks of it. It also, I got, a lot of little stories coming from that. That my hat that I was wearing between my wife and this other lady almost caused a fight. Just all that. It was a good night. I really enjoyed myself. And, you got to get out and do stuff. I know coming off of COVID, I'm not a big fan. I've never been a big fan about going around people. I used to do concerts because I really liked the atmosphere. There was a great feeling of cooperation and just guys being nice to each other at the Sabaton show. And honestly, if I had to be around a large mass of people that I did not know, I couldn't think of a better group of people to be around, because we all were there for one reason. We all got along. We worked together. Other than petty stuff of, flirting with boyfriends, husbands, whatever. There really wasn't a whole lot of, in fact, those didn't devolve into fights. I didn't see one fight when I was there at all. I don't believe I even saw an argument other than my wife telling that woman to go away and get off her. But there we go, guys. So that's where I was. You all take care and have a good day.